Hi, how are you, Elizabeth?
Hi. So I'm actually doing good today. I'm still at the shelter. I have a few friends there that have been trying to help me, look into schools and stuff, but I still don't really know what I'm doing. A lot of these people that are there don't have much support either. They have no experience with looking into school. Like, none of them are in school, so I'm kind of lost. Like, I still don't know exactly like what I'm doing, so I think I need a little bit more help with that.
Absolutely, and that's what we're here for. We're here for guidance and just giving you those extra tools that maybe you don't have access to yet or don't know you have access to. So last time we met, we did the really in-depth assessment of just kind of getting you into the program. So I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail and asking you a few more questions to better understand your background a little bit and kind of where we're going, and to understand what knowledge you do have of your resources. Does that sound okay?
That sounds great.
Perfect. So I want to know a little bit more about your childhood and where you grew up, and tell me a little bit more about that.
So I would say I had a pretty rough childhood.
Okay.
It was hard. I was in the foster system. I know we talked about that last time. I jumped from home to home. I did encounter a little bit of abuse growing up, a little bit of physical abuse. So, they made me feel like I wasn't really worthy, or that, I really couldn't amount to anything. And so I think that's another reason why it's been so hard for me to try to jump into this school thing. And, I never really learned what tools I had. Or took advantage of any of the resources that I had at that time, because my self-esteem was so low. And so now that I'm like in a homeless shelter, it's a big reality check, and I don't want this to be me for the rest of my life. Like, I've had some foster, siblings that are in jail, or I had one die the other day. Like, it's just a big reality check for me, and so I just need to figure out like where to go and where I need to be right now.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you had some tough things happen throughout life, and I'm so sorry to hear that you were abused. That is definitely difficult to go through and can definitely affect you. And I'm so sorry to hear about your sibling, the foster sibling that had passed away. That doesn't seem like it is easy for you to handle. I mean, that's tough for anyone. So I imagine that's difficult.
It's been pretty rough, but I feel like I'm grieving, but I'm also learning how to kind of it's a wake up check. Like, I'm trying to grow up, and I know that I don't want to be here at this shelter for the rest of my life. Like, I want to have a career, and I want to maybe eventually have a family and stuff. And so I don't know where to start or where to go.
Absolutely. So it doesn't sound like the foster families that you had really prepared you for being an adult or in your next steps in life. Is that right?
Yeah. If maybe I did have more of a structured setting, or, if they like pushed me to do things, I would have known, like, after high school, hey, like, I need to start applying for colleges. But I was never told that, so I basically was there I was at my last foster home up until like I could be, until I turned 18. And then after I turned 18, they're like, you gotta go, so at that point, like, I didn't know what to do. I don't know who my family is. I have some friends, and my friends are basically staying here, and that's what brought me to this place.
Gotcha. Well, so did the foster system ever tell you that you were allowed to stay a little longer? Did they give you other options?
No, I never knew any of that. I know that I can come here, and for the meantime, I think they told me that I can stay up for about 6 months, but I have to be looking for work. I have to be putting in applications. Like, I can't just sit here and do nothing. And I mean, I want to. I have those goals, but I want to get through with this now, instead of like last minute trying to do all this, and then once those 6 months are over, I'm back on the streets.
Absolutely.
Or couch surfing or whatever.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's a good goal. It seems like you're very goal-oriented, and you don't want to be stuck in the same situation that you have been. So how did you come to the shelter?
So after I got kicked out of my last foster home, I wasn't able to get a hold of my caseworker, my foster caseworker. And I didn't find, I mean, honestly, I'd gone through so many. That was probably like my 10th one. And so I just assumed that maybe the last foster worker that I had probably stopped working there. And so at that point, like, I didn't know who to call. I didn't know what to do. I tried to talk to my foster family, and they basically told me, like, you know, you're on your own. We can't do anything anymore for you. You know, they were okay. They were probably the nicest any family has been to me, but it didn't really show because they just kicked me out. They didn't even tell me where to go. You know what I mean? So then I just kind of started thinking, like, you know, they never really did care if they would just throw me out there, you know? And so one of my foster siblings who was there about a year ago that I had met, they told me that there was this program where I can stay at a shelter. I wouldn't have to stay out in the streets. They would help me with, you know, employment. They'd help me try to apply for school. And so I thought that was a great opportunity for me, like I said, because I don't want to end up back on the streets. But I have run into some roadblocks because growing up, like, I did run into some legal issues. And so I thought that the more help I could get would be essential for me because, you know, with that legal history, I don't know if it's going to be easier for me to, you know, find a job or go to school.
Absolutely. Can you tell me a little bit more about what happened when you were younger? Because that can help us better understand what we can do and maybe our limitations, or that they're not limitations at all. So can you tell me a little bit more about what happened?
Yeah, so I mentioned that I was physically abused in some of my homes, my foster homes, and so every time I knew, like, that I was going to be hit or something, I would just run away. And so I would run away, and when I would do that, you know, I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have anywhere to sleep. I didn't have any money in my pocket. So, you know, I'd find myself going to Walmart or going to Target, and, like, I'd steal food. And at times I was pretty successful and I wouldn't get caught, but then I got caught. And so the first couple of times that it happened, the cops, like, you know, they didn't do anything, but it started becoming more frequent, and they ended up, you know, charging me for some of those things. So some theft was involved there. I started getting hooked up to the wrong, you know, group of friends. I was smoking weed. I never really did anything more than that, but I was at times, like, I'd carry it around, and then I got caught with it one time. So I think they said it was like a controlled substance or something. Like, I don't even know why. Like, it was just weed. You know, I wasn't doing anything. So a little bit of the legal history with that. I know that there was something else, but I can't really remember off the top of my head. But those are like the two main
The
ones.
big ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you were trying to be resourceful, and it happens to a lot of us that we get into the wrong crowd, and that can be a bad influence. But it seems that you now understand that, and that's great. The fact that you are able to separate from that time frame. And are you still pending any charges, or are you on probation at all, or?
So I was on probation. They said that if and this was back, I think, like 5 years ago, that if I did probation and I didn't get caught with weed, or if I stopped stealing, if I didn't get caught stealing stuff, that they would clear my record. And so I did probation. I did everything they said, and I think that it's cleared, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't have those documents to, like, support that, but I was told it was.
So would that be something that you would like to confirm and get documentation about to make sure that that's the case?
Definitely, because I don't know if you know, it was really claimed. I don't know where to go to find out if, like, my record is clean. And I think I'd kind of be embarrassed if I were to go, you know, try to apply for a job and they said that they couldn't hire me because of my background. And that's a big thing. That's another reason why I haven't gone to apply for any jobs, because I know that they're gonna look up my background. And so, like, I just think it'd be really embarrassing if they told me no because something popped up on there.
And I understand that. That's something that we can find quickly for you. So that's one of the resources we have, is to be able to get any records that you may need. Because, as you said, this program helps people get rehabilitated and on their own feet. But we do have a lot of children who have come out of the foster family system, and they don't have information. So we do have programs to help out with that. Additionally, we work with people with past criminal activity in their backgrounds, and they're great jobs. So don't be discouraged. I would encourage you not to be discouraged. But if that's a priority for you, I think that shouldn't be your deterrent.
So I think my priority is to go to one of the community colleges.
Great.
But I do also kind of want to work, like maybe find a part-time job. I think that would be good because I've never worked before, and I think getting some history or some employment history would be good for like a resume.
Absolutely. Would you be open to working at the school?
I think that'd be cool. Like if I could work at the school and I wouldn't have to worry about taking the bus because I don't have a car. If I can just go to school and be at school all day, like I think that would be awesome. I don't always have money for bus passes.
Absolutely. And we work with a lot of the local community colleges and the colleges to be able to help out. So I would love to be able to link you up with the advisors for that, if that's something you would like.
I would love that.
Perfect. So my next question would be, are you familiar with the application process to school?
I have no idea. When I was in high school, I had a counselor. I never really paid attention to any of that stuff. But they always did mention like applying for like some kind of I don't know what it's called, some like to help me pay for school.
The FAFSA.
Yes, that's what that is. And so I know that they wanted us to start with that, and they talked about how if I did it at that time, I wouldn't have to pay for the applications. And so that's another one of my worries, is that I'm gonna have to pay $50 or to $100. I'm not really too sure how much it costs to apply, but to apply for school, I don't have the money to do that. Mm-hmm. So that's another kind of worry that I have.
So I understand money is a huge barrier for a lot of people, but I don't want that to be a concern for you. So through this program, we have options to help waive those fees of applications, because if you're in compliance with the program, which you are, we assist people in filling out the applications. We also assist in scholarship applications to help pay for school, as well as we absolutely get you to fill out the FAFSA. We also, like I said, are linked up with those colleges to help with career field as well, to help you at least work while you're in school. Okay. Were you wanting to stay local for your school, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I never knew who my parents were. I had 3 different foster families, but I was never really close with any of them. Like, they didn't care. They were just getting a check. I do have some foster siblings and some friends. They're really my only support. I don't have anybody else, so I can't imagine me leaving, this community and just trying to start somewhere fresh, because I would have no idea what's going on. I know my way around here and stuff, so I think it's in my best interest to stay here.
Absolutely. And it sounds like support is really important to you, and the support system you do have, it seems like they're good for you, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so I know you had also mentioned that you wanted to get into your own housing. Have you looked at housing applications? Do you even know about housing?
I don't, and it's kind of the same thing with school. Like, I've never filled out an application in my life. That's kind of embarrassing to say. I don't know, like, if they would charge me for the applications. Again, I don't have money to do that. And another thing I heard is that they can help waive those fees too. Mm-hmm. So, like, I wouldn't even know where to start or where to go.
Okay.
For that.
And through this program, as I'm sure you know, is part of getting you through the 6 months is to find housing at the end of that. So we help out by helping you fill out applications for public housing, as well as getting you to a point where we can find low-income housing to get you on your feet to where you can get where you want to go. Mm-hmm. Do you know kind of what area of town you want to stay in?
Somewhere that would be close to where I go to school.
Absolutely.
Would probably be the easiest. If I can, maybe save enough money to buy a bike and just bike ride to school, I can do that. Or just like find an apartment that's near a bus line so I can, make my way. Anything close to there would be great.
Absolutely. Great. It sounds like you kind of have some good ideas of what you're looking for. And it's just a matter of learning how to do it.
Would it be possible for me to live on campus?
That is a good question. So most community colleges don't have housing, but there's a lot of student housing around.
Okay.
That typically can be a little bit cheaper. If we get you into a full college, not just the community colleges, that is totally an option. That's part of the scholarship programs that we look into. That's part of just the college experience. Typically, it has that aspect to it, but I think that would be a great option to look into for you.
Yeah, that would be even great if I can, get into something that's near there, or maybe like a roommate that's in school too. I wouldn't mind either. Honestly, like anything that will get me, off of, or out of this shelter.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's, the resources here are great, but this isn't long term for me.
Absolutely, and it's not meant to be. It's meant to be helpful to get you to where you want to go. Do you have any interest in finding more about your family at all, or just are you kind of that's your past and you're ready to move forward? Where are you at with that?
I think like any normal kid or foster kid, it's always a thought that goes through your head. It comes and it goes, but I've always it makes me really sad to think that, I just got dropped into this sort of system. I got dropped into it as a baby, and so I have no idea, no recollection of what it was. I know that when I was in CPS at first, before I was adopted into the foster system, or adopted into that system, they did tell me a little bit of my parents' background, and so my mom was really into drugs, and so she basically signed her rights away because she couldn't care for me. And so that's really sad to think that something like that could take over a person, and it resulting in them not even caring about their kids. So I kind of have some resentment towards that. My main thing right now is to be independent, and maybe down the road, if those questions come up and I'm doing really well, I can see that being something, but as of right now, no.
Okay, and that's totally understandable. Are you open to seeking counseling about the abuse that happened and just those things, or is that something that you feel like is important to resolve at this point, or is it not an issue? How do you feel?
So, I don't feel like it's an issue, but I do find myself having nightmares about what happened, or sometimes even flashback. Sometimes there are certain situations or things that some people can do, that'll kind of make me flinch and make me relive that experience. Being in this situation, being in a homeless shelter, that's scary too. I'm around a lot of people that don't, that are kind of scary, to be honest. Some people smell out here, that's not really me. So right now, I don't think I'm there yet, but I think that in the future that might be something that I want to do. If I can't shake it off, if I still have these nightmares and stuff, that I think that's something I would like to visit. But I would like to work on the school and maybe the employment, and if I find that I'm not able to work or go to school because I'm still having those flashbacks, and I think I might want to visit that, but I think I'm good right now.
Okay, great. And know that those resources are available to you through this program if you ever do change your mind at any point. We also provide those resources for you after you leave the program. That way you are not left out, kind of how you feel currently, not knowing what to do or what resources are available to you. So, in wrapping up, I just want to go over what we talked about. So we talked about a lot of goals that you are looking forward to, which is great. I think it's wonderful that you have come through a lot and still are very goal-oriented and future-oriented. You're wanting better for yourself, which is amazing. And at such a young age, you have a good head on your shoulders to make sure that you're changing the way that things are going to go for you from now on. So, first and foremost is that you want to find a job, and I think in order to do that and make you feel better is to find out what your criminal record status is currently, right? Okay, so that's our first thing that we need to get processed, is to find out where you are in that. And then we can also provide resources of where to apply for jobs. Secondly, will be to put in the application for school. We are coming up on the summer, which is good because that'll give us lots of time to apply for scholarships. Would the fall be a time you would like to start?
As soon as I can, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. So the first and foremost, we'll need to get that FAFSA put in, because that's a time ticking away. But we're going to have additional resources for you to be sure that we can get get you set up for success in getting into school and knowing everything you need to know, because it's a confusing process in general, but we want to make sure you feel secure in it. And then we'll do the actual application for school, and then in addition to that, we'll be also doing the application for your housing. How does that sound?
That sounds great. I am looking forward to this, and I really want to thank you. I feel like you've given me the time to build some confidence, because I've never really had that growing up. And I think having somebody kind of show me step by step what I need to do is really helpful for me, so I don't get lost, because I kind of felt like I got lost in the system, to be honest.
Absolutely, and I'm so sorry that that was your experience, but I'm so happy that you are ready to take the next steps and ask the questions you need to ask. So in our next session, we're going to work on some of those applications. If you have any other questions in between now and then, you can always contact me or someone else in the services. They can help you out as well if you need other specific things. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely.